What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to our favorite day of the week, Mentor Monday. My name is TAETRO. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you don't know, Mentor Monday is a show where we talk about some of the less technical and more philosophical side of being a home studio music producer. And you can call into the show. So I'm dropping a link in the chat right now. It is a Zoom link where you can join and ask your questions, and you'll be put into a waiting room. I'll take your call via audio. The stream will hear you. We'll all be having a good time. And I think it serves a lot of people. So a lot of folks call in with questions that kind of apply to all of us around the creative process, around so much. And I think it's really important that we share those answers. Like, it's a way of me getting ahead of the comment section. Like, I get so many comments and DMs and people asking a lot of the same questions. So this show is all about you call in, you ask those questions, and everybody can sort of take value from the show and from the questions that you call in and ask. I have to really keep things down to an hour today. We've been going for very, very long, but I've got to only go for an hour. So for me, that's until 11:30, 1 hour from now. So if you are going to call in, use that link and get in the waiting room as soon as possible. I will try to prioritize callers who have not called in before, but get in now because I may not be able to get to all the calls today. But just jump in the waiting room and I will do my best to take all the calls possible. But thank you all so much for joining us today. If you notice, I've pinned some merch to the top of the chat today. And if you haven't yet, you should check out the merch shop. Not only that, but running a sale right now, 20% off. Use the code MENTOR, MENTOR, and you can get 20% off all the merch in the shop. There's some cool new like summer merch that's on sale, or kind of new. And then there's the Control Freak merch, as well as some stickers, some socks, all kind of, really fun stuff. Take a look at the merch shop. It's pinned to the top. I think you all will really like that yellow one that's got like the logo with me holding the keyboard up. I think that's pretty cool. But if you pick up some merch, do let me know in the chat. That would be cool. Use code MENTOR for 20% off. And, there might be some new things in store in the future, in the coming month or so, that you all should really look forward to. Hopefully there's no technical glitches today. We haven't frozen yet, so that's good. Knock on wood. Trying a new technique. It's called plugging things in on the other side of the computer. I read that might help, so we'll see. A couple housekeeping things. I've got videos not scheduled yet, but I've got a schedule of videos through October. So there's lots of content coming. And we are very, very close to 100K. We might hit 95K today or tomorrow, which is very exciting. So thank you all for being subscribers. I'm really excited about that. That shows like the community is growing, all that good stuff. It's just been amazing. And I thank you all so much. We've seen a little bump in the past couple months, and that's been really fun to see. But could be cool. Maybe we'll hit 95K today or tomorrow. And it should be fun. Right now, I want to check in with chat. I see Manisha Patel. What is going on? Nice to see you. Saharsh, MSJ, Rev Sabes, holding it down as a mod today. Thank you so much, Rev Sabes. I appreciate you. Basha Rivera, what is going on? Nice to see you. Hagada, hello. Hagada, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to the stream. My mom is here watching. Hello, Mom. Audio Duck is here. Audio Duck been putting in that work I've seen. Jonathan Mueller, great to have you here. Ray Calvin, Carlos Pineda, Shurjith, what is up? Gabu is here. Hello. Yusuf, nice to see you. Emmett, great. Savage TV Productions, hello. Who am I missing? Lakshit, nice to see you. Prakash, hello. Welcome to the chat. Lisa P, hello. Lisa P, I feel like you're a new face. Welcome to the stream. I'm so stoked to have you all here today. Delirium, what's going on? Nice to see you. And our dear friend Samuel Messiah. So like I said, folks, use the link that I'm about to drop in the chat. Call in with your questions. Don't worry about being on camera. Nobody will see you. I might see you, but who knows? But people will just hear you. You're not on right away. You don't click the link and get in the call. You get put into a waiting room and I pull you in. So there's really no pressure. Well, actually, how are you, TAETRO? I am pretty good. I've got my coffee. It's Monday. I had to do a little bit of work this morning, which is why we had to bump the show. But I'm good. I'm happy. I'm busy. More content with the Orba coming. I thought it was within reach, but it's not. More content with the Orba coming. So if you haven't watched any content with that yet, I'll have a breakdown of how I used it as a beat making MIDI controller in the last video that I did with that. That was really fun. I've also just got some a cool video talking about MIDI accessories for your keyboard controller. So like some controllers and stuff that you can pair with your MIDI controller that can take your game to the next level. And I've got a cool vlog coming out later this week where some of the community members, if you're a patron over at patreon.com/TAETRO, you got to participate in a sample challenge, which is really fun. I basically just dropped one of the loops that I used in the beat that I made in the vlog, and folks got to flip the sample, and I was super, super impressed by the submissions. The community blew it away. That was a Discord community challenge. So if you want to join our Discord, which is really fun, patreon.com/TAETRO, join for as little as $1, and you can become a Patreon member and join the Discord and participate in future community challenges, get featured in the video, get featured in TAETRO Radio, all that good stuff. I'm very, very stoked about that. Community really crushed it. But I want to jump right into the calls because we've only got an hour today. So I want to see if we can do what we can. A little bit of a short show, but that's okay. First up, I want to get Ari Gelman. If I'm bringing you in for the show, make sure you lower the stream volume and you are listening through Zoom. Make sure your mic situation is all taken care of. And we should be good. So we'll get Ari in here. Ari, make sure you unmute your mic and you'll be good to go. Stream will be on a little bit of a delay, but when you call in, it will not be on a delay. So just be aware of that. Hello, Mr. McDoodles. Thank you for joining. Oh, Ari, you're on the call. How are you?
Good.
Where are you calling in from, Ari?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Is this your first call?
Yes.
Awesome. Welcome to the show. Well, thank you so much for calling in today. What is your question?
Would you recommend doing a longer month-long class, and if so, which ones?
Yeah, so where are you at in your journey, in your learning journey? Where are you at? How much do you need to learn? What are you interested in learning too?
I'd say I'm not a complete beginner,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd like to grow more.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It depends on what kind of learner you are, of course. Of course, there's an option like you can literally Google everything. You can go on YouTube, you can watch all kinds of tutorials, but there's like so much out there. So the drawback is you can definitely do things for free and go find it, but are you the kind of learner that needs a little more structure, or do you think you could benefit from more structure? That's one thing to ask yourself. So for instance, like my channel, right? I do lots of tutorials, but I don't think you could consume my tutorials in an order that would make sense for a cohesive like class or something like that. And that's probably true for most of YouTube. So there's a couple options out there if you do need a little more structure. One being, so I'll have a few sponsorships this month, but I've had some in the past month, is Skillshare. They've been sponsoring some content. And usually whenever I do a Skillshare sponsorship, they give 2 months free, which is really useful to take advantage of because there's courses taught by Ableton certified instructors. There's music theory within Ableton Live. There's mixing, there's mastering, music theory, all that good stuff. So that is a good free way to get a little more structure, is just be on the lookout for a couple of my Skillshare sponsorship things coming up. It is a sponsor, though. I'll put that out there. The other one is I work for an electronic music production school called 343 Labs, which does 12-week courses. Of course, I work for the school, so it's not necessarily a paid endorsement, but I do have that conflict of interest. But I will say that the instructors there are they have huge music careers, former like touring artists, like super famous folks in the techno world. One of the instructors is a Beatport charting producer. And then what else? Oh, there's like four Ableton certified instructors, and the school is actually an Ableton certified training center. So that is a real Skillshare is interesting because you consume it via videos and stuff. It's very similar to YouTube, but with more structure. And then, but something like 343 Labs or an electronic music school like that, it's more tight knit. Like you're in an actual classroom, you're on Zoom, you're talking to your classmates, you're getting direct feedback from an instructor. And I think that can definitely benefit a lot of people. So those are my, like, if you really think you need the structure and you want to package everything into one kind of shot, I would definitely look into those two options. Skillshare for a little less interactivity, 343 Labs for a little more personal approach, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm curious, how did you find my channel in the first place, and how long have you been subscribed?
I've been subscribed for a couple months now, and I found it when I first started getting into music.
Amazing. Do you have any MIDI controllers?
Yes,
Nice. What do you got?
the Launch Key Mini.
Very cool. Very cool. Good choice. Well, Ari, thank you so much for calling in. Let us know what you end up going with. If you end up going with, the YouTube route, or you go with something a little more structured, keep us posted in future streams, and we would love to hear about your journey and how it's going.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ari. Have a good one. Yeah, I think a lot of there's so many options out there for learning electronic music. Obviously, I do YouTube and I put my content out there for free, but like I said, it's not necessarily structured like a course. Something I may be planning to do one day, maybe when we employ the members, the YouTube membership, and have a members only feed, we'll do full on workshops and courses. But yeah, a more structured approach, Skillshare, 343 Labs, any other music school might be better for you. Who knows? And they're super focused. That's the thing. Like I went to college where I had to take English and math and all this, and music classes that didn't even matter to me. Like not only was it kind of like BS classes with general education classes, but it was also BS classes with certain music classes. These other focused schools where you can just kind of get exactly what you want, go through a music production journey that's very specific to modern music production. There's so many options out there like that. But I'm stoked that y'all are looking for options like that. Mr. McDoodles, happy birthday, right? Did I get that right? Yes. Happy birthday, McDoodles. Let's keep rolling with the calls. Tanner, you're up. Oh, yes, ADSR is cool too. You can download courses very similar to Skillshare, as Drummy Geo says. Very true, very focused courses. How's it going, Tanner?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining the stream today. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Colorado.
Awesome. How are things in Colorado? So I'm from Boston, like the East Coast, not Boston, but like, New England. And then I moved just recently to California, and I've always been like dreaming of the middle of the country, of the mountains, of like the flat plains, things like that. How are things in Colorado?
It's great out here, nice mountain environment, of course. I think we're having some of the same problems that you guys are right now with
for sure
wildfires, unfortunately. But other than that, it's a very inspiring place to live.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. What's your question today?
Yeah, so I'm kind of just getting back into production.
Cool.
Kind of after having a full-time job and dedicating myself to that.
Totally.
I think something I was curious about, I think kind of your niche seems to be MIDI controllers. Something I see kind of for my friends that have, produced for a long time is that people kind of go directly to only producing within the piano roll itself after a while. I was just wondering how you kind of continue to stay motivated with the MIDI controller and kind of what different inspiration that gives you as opposed to just inputting the notes manually.
Yeah, well, I have the benefit of actually having lots of MIDI controllers because of the channel, so that keeps things interesting for one. But the other thing is, like, before I even did this channel kind of professionally, quote unquote, I was always fascinated by controllerism specifically because when you pick up an instrument, whether it be a keyboard, whether it be the push or a launch pad or the Orba now, for instance, or my Instrument One, which is like this guitar looking controller back here, the way you approach music and the music that you create is based on like how you're interfacing with the software and how you're interfacing with the digital sounds. And to have MIDI controllers as this extension of the software, but actually be physical instruments in the real world that you can actually play, for me, that's what it's all about. Like I very rarely am just sitting and making music with my laptop only, because for me, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. Not saying that there's anything wrong with folks who work like in the piano roll and program things that way. I think that's totally fine, and you should make music how you want to make music and how it feels comfortable to you. But for me, I came from a more traditional musical background where I was a singer-songwriter, and I would very often play piano or guitar and accompany myself. So that instruments become an extension of yourself as a musician. And in the electronic world, for a long, long time, it was very hard to have that extension. It was very much techie, like almost like a programmer's kind of world where you are just clicking around on the screen. And for me, connecting the two worlds really unlocked productivity and inspiration for me. One, because I'm super fortunate to have access to a bunch of different controllers. So that means I can just pick something off the wall to give me a different approach for that day. But even so, if say you were going to buy like one great controller, and that was going to be your main instrument, you can also have that relationship with it. And I'm not sure if many people see it as that. You know, if you go to a music school, or if you just even look at musicians out there that have like their one instrument, you know, like that one guy's always got his acoustic guitar, or that one guy has always got his like djembe, his drum. You have a connection with that instrument, and it influences the way you create music and the kind of music you make. And it also gives you a box to work in. It gives you like, okay, I have 37 keys on the keyboard. What can I play? I've got these pads here. Let me transition into launching clips and looping and make stuff. So for me, controllerism is about changing your approach to making electronic music and just bringing it that much closer to the real world. And if it's something you're considering, I would highly recommend picking up a MIDI controller if you don't have one yet, just to have that real world extension. And it's just like a better connection. You know, the computer can be very cold. You know, a lot of our personal stuff gets done through the computer these days anyway, especially now that we're all on Zoom all the time. Just like having a mouse and a keyboard, those aren't necessarily built to be expressive and musical, whereas a controller becomes your instrument. You can build that personal connection with your controller and learn it inside and out and really connect with music that way. But that for me, that's what controllerism is to me. Do you have any controllers?
I've had some sort of through the years, and sold them off. Right now, I just got the MPK Mini Mark III, but I haven't really been using it too much. I guess mostly just from a knobs perspective for automation, but haven't used it as a node input device too much.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, like how well versed are you in playing keyboard, like playing piano?
Not very much. I'm pretty experienced on guitar, but definitely not on keys. Yeah,
well, at least the guitar will give you a little bit of like theory knowledge to sort of back up while you're working in production, of course. So it's like have that solid foundation, but even just honing a little bit of keyboard skills, you will find yourself gravitating towards just plugging in notes in the piano roll if you're not super versed in keyboard. But even like with a 25 key mini keyboard, you can learn enough to play like simple chord progressions, find some music that you really love and just learn the basic triad chord progressions with it. And you'll start to find yourself gravitating more towards playing the physical instrument rather than plugging in notes. I don't know. There's something about being stuck to a grid. And of course, you can mess with the grid. You can be off the grid when you're working in piano roll. But there's something different about playing something and having a human feel to something rather than sort of plugging in notes into a grid. And I think you'll find that it will influence your music a bit in a positive way.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, and the one other thing, like I know you said you're coming back from a break and full-time job and all this stuff, but I did an interview last week with Sanjay C, who's another YouTuber. And if you check that out, like he talks a lot about he was a musician, he loved music, was writing songs, all that. And then he took a literal 10-year break, like a decade-long break, and then came back to music. And now he's like one of the biggest, most prominent music YouTubers. And is making great stuff and is working with music technology. But I think based on your personal situation, that interview could be semi-inspiring and cool to hear, just because of what you said about, coming back from a break, and it was very similar to his story. Might be worth watching.
Yeah, for sure. I'll check it out.
Awesome, Tanner. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks.
Have a good one. All right. Great calls so far. We're going to keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. We got about like 40 minutes left. We got this next person, Rox. I know somebody named Rox, and I'm very curious to see if this is the same Rox. We shall see. Yes, folks, make sure you grab that link and get in the waiting room ASAP, because I'm trying to make sure I get everybody's calls today, as we are doing a little bit of a shorter show than usual. What happened? I tried to admit this person into the show. Hello, are you on the air? That's my friend Roxney. Roxney, welcome to the show. Unmute yourself, though.
Hey, man, what's up?
Roxney, you look so big.
No, yeah.
Yes, and your voice is deep. That's amazing. Roxney,
Oh.
Can you tell people how we know each other?
It was in Weston House, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, right. But, like, what did we do at the Weston House? Like, what is some cool stuff that we did at the Weston House?
We, in the Weston House, we did that launch pad thing.
Yes, we did Launchpad stuff. We did a looping pedal stuff, too.
Yeah.
We did lots of beat making. Roxney, I'm stoked you called in. We went to Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
We did lots of
That
cool
was
stuff.
the last time, like, I really talked to you much.
Yeah, that was our last hurrah.
Yeah, and after Disney World, you left, right?
Yes, I left, went to do the freelance thing, and now here I am in California, and you're over in Boston, right?
Yeah, I'm still in Boston.
Nice. Well, I hope that you are well, and I hope that things are going great. Did you have a question today, or are you calling in just to catch up?
I have a question, but one sec. Someone's saying hard to heal.
No worries. Will Joseph. Guys, let me know how the audio levels are, and I can turn folks up. If it's hard to hear me, I can turn my levels up, but usually this is a pretty good level. Audio duck. This is a condenser microphone, yes. Oh, go ahead, Roxney. What is your question?
Is this better?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. So, my question is, how do you make stuff that, how can I say this? Like, if you're down or if you don't feel like it, how do you make stuff and like overcome that like little downness stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's super hard. I've talked about this on a couple calls, but like we all have those moments for sure. The one thing is like remembering that like making stuff, like making music specifically for me, like it's an outlet. For me, it gets weird because it's also like part work. So I make beats and beat videos for like other people, and I get paid to do it, whatever. So it's important to reset the brain and be like, okay, right now I don't have to go live. I don't have to make a video. I can just make something. Like this is an outlet. I can make something and nobody ever has to hear it. And I can just literally have fun with it. Make something I've never made before. Something like that. So like taking the pressure off helps a lot, and just being like, I'm just going to make something for fun. I'm going to make a parody song, or I'm going to try to recreate a song that I love, or and anything like that. And then the other thing is also, so you take the pressures off yourself. You don't say like, oh, I have to progress right now. You just say, I'm just going to sit down and make music and have fun. The other thing is like getting to the root of like why you're feeling down and like why you're feeling some type of way. Trying to make sure you put yourself in the position of not feeling that way. So like, are there changes you can make? Like sometimes it just hits you, right? Just hits you, and that's how you feel, and there's not much you can do about it. But getting to the root of kind of why and what are you doing to attribute to that feeling of downness? Is it like sleeping in like a little bit too late and that makes you lethargic for the rest of the day? Or is it like eating a certain kind of food which makes you feel like a certain way, like it feels good in the moment but doesn't feel good like later on? There's that. So like getting to the root of that why and like your contribution to it and what can you change around that, like what physical changes can you make in your world. And then there's also like the other thing I always say is like, if you are feeling down and maybe it's not the right moment to be making stuff, maybe you are putting too much pressure on yourself to even make something. So maybe it is like not feeling bad about taking a break, whether that break is like, we just talked to the caller that said like took a break for some years, to do a full-time job. That's a break. I talked to Sanjay C the other day. He talked about taking a 10-year break. Maybe for you, it's a day break. Maybe it's a week break. Maybe it's a month break. But like to really just like chill. Like if I felt bad every time I wanted to play Call of Duty with my friends, like I wouldn't be having fun with Call of Duty. And then I also wouldn't be having fun making music. But when I take that time away, when I'm very true to myself and say, I am going to take this break and I'm going to enjoy it. And no, I don't feel bad that I'm not in the studio making stuff. When you're very deliberate about your line of thinking that way, you can come out feeling refreshed. So when I finish playing some Call of Duty or I finish doing like watching some movie or taking some time to myself, I don't come out of it feeling guilty. I come out of it feeling like I just had a refreshed break and I'm ready to get back in the studio because I've been away from it for a bit. So it's about being super honest and deliberate with yourself and saying, I'm going to play video games right now and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to have a good time and I'll see you later, music. And I'll trust that the music is going to come back. Because if you have a passion for making stuff and you have a passion for music, that doesn't go away. And you have to just trust that it doesn't go away. And that if you go and take some time away, however long it may be, that may come back. But especially you at your age, there's no pressure to make stuff or to do anything right in this moment. I think the world puts a lot of pressure on, especially young people, to do a lot of stuff. But there's really no pressure. Like you make your own rules for what you make, especially as artists. If you want to be an artist, you make your own rules and you have to do what's best for you and the longevity of your career and your life as an artist. Because being an artist is not like a job. You don't go and clock in at 9 a.m. and clock out at 5 p.m. It's just, it hits you when it hits you and it goes away when it goes away. And that's one of the best parts about being an artist, right? You make your own schedule based on how you're feeling and how inspiration hits you. But, and it's convenient in that sense, in that you show up when the inspiration hits. But you have to take the pressure off yourself and accept that on the other end, that when the inspiration doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. And sometimes it means you got to just sit down and take the pressure off and do some work. Other times it means you need to step away and take a break. That's how I feel. But like, I think culture and a lot of stuff out there puts an emphasis on being down as like being a bad thing or being an abnormal thing or being something that you can recover from and never feel again. And it's not that at all. It ebbs and flows. It's like the tide goes in, it goes out. And it's just part of it. And learning to work with it rather than trying to find an antidote for it or trying to find a fix that's going to say, okay, I'll never feel like this again if I do this. That's not really a thing. You can put yourself in a position to maybe feel a little bit less like that sometimes, a little bit less down. But moods and feelings and, depression and just having emotions is not something you can get rid of. And especially for artists, you are a very artistically inclined young man for sure. And you're a very creative thinker. That is just something in our DNA. Like as artists, we are emotional beings. We have thoughts and feelings, and sometimes they weigh heavy on our brains. And that doesn't go away. There's no pill you can take to make that go away. It is what it is. And we have to learn to work with it rather than trying to feel down on ourselves for not being able to get rid of it. It's not something we can get rid of. Roxney, I'm so excited to talk to you. Are you excited for school online in September?
Kind of, I guess.
More time at home means more time to be able to make the stuff you want to make. Think about that.
Yeah. Sadly, I'm still making my PC.
Nice.
I'm almost done with it, but I doubt I'll be finished with it.
What pieces are left?
Just the CPU, GPU, and just the monitor. That's it. Not that much.
Very cool. I'm stoked. I'm so glad you called. You can text me anytime, and you can call into this show anytime.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Roxanne. Good talking to you.
Yeah.
Peace out, bro. That's great. Former student, Roxney. And I don't like to say student. We're on first name basis. It's an after school program. We made a lot of music together. Went to Disney together. All that good stuff. But that was great. Hey, what up, Ashok? Thank you for being here. So stoked. We got to keep going through the calls because we got a full waiting room. Prioritizing people whose names I don't recognize. Like Rooster, for instance. Rooster, you're coming on the show as we speak. Sometimes it takes folks to get their mic all situated and settled. Sinro, what type of teacher I choose to learn music production? A good teacher, a teacher with lots of experience. 343labs.com, perhaps. Or consume a lot on YouTube. Rooster, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
Choose to learn music production?
Make sure you mute the stream, by the way, on the other end. Hey, Rooster, can you hear me? All right, we'll give Rooster a minute to see if he can, if they can check in. Thank you, Roxy, for calling in. I appreciate you. Yeah, Pixel 5. Maybe my answer was not good enough. I don't know. It's not that hard to find people who are taking lessons, but basically you should look for artists that you love or like established, establishments or organizations that house a lot of really good teachers, or you find a music creator that you really love and you figure out if they teach lessons. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. Rooster, you're on the air. Are you with us? All right, we're going to put Rooster in the waiting room. We'll get you back in a bit. Just figure out I think you were not hearing me on the stream, but I could hear you on your mic for sure. Let's go ahead and get the range control in here. That's an interesting name, the range control. What is up, range control? How are you?
I am.
Where are you calling in from today?
I'm actually calling from just outside of New Haven. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome.
So,
what's your question?
So first, I want to thank you for all of your hard work, and I want to congratulate you on hitting nearly 100.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's awesome.
We're on the road.
What was that?
We're on the road. We're on the road.
Fantastic. So I know that you have conflicts of interest with teaching.
Totally.
But there's something I'm wondering if you might be able to cover, since it's not going to be in the main of what's normally covered with a product.
Tell me about it.
So there's something called Sample Robot, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
I'm not familiar, but it sounds interesting. Can you tell me what it is?
Sure. So what it is it's a sampler, and it where this is different is it has an instrument copier feature, and so it will actually. Whereas a lot of samplers, you have to press key by key by key and go bank to bank. Like, it will do all of that automated for you.
Very cool.
At, like, $300-something price tag, though, for that level. And so I can't find any videos where they're actually showing any coverage of how to use it. And like many people with ADHD, without a video tutorial, I'm stuck.
For sure. Maybe it's something, it sounds very, very interesting. I wouldn't probably pay $300 for something like that, but I could reach out to the company and see if they would send me an NFR, and because it does sound very, very interesting. So you're saying it kind of uses AI or automation or whatever to make a full sample instrument for you?
Yeah, so it doesn't do, it just samples everything, and I guess puts in, I honestly can't speak word for word on specifically how it does it. A number of people have told me that's how it works, and looking over what my mind would comprehend, it has that instrument copier feature. Cool. But because there's no video and it's not really easy to digest for me, it could definitely be of tremendous help to have that available. Like me, for example, in the small space I live in, I can't have a bunch of synths and workstations laying around.
For sure.
Like, I need to, matter of fact, get a couple of them put in storage because I need some room.
Yeah.
Bro. You know, like I need a new computer. Da, da, da. I don't have time to like start warehousing like synths and workstations, especially.
Dude, I hear you. I'm in this 8x7 room, and like the keyboards you see behind me on the stream, like that's one shelf, and then there's 2 more shelves above that, and then there's 3 shelves on each side of me, like holding stuff, and like that's like YouTuber problems, I guess, but like it does get it gets to be a lot, like when you just start collecting stuff. But let me ask you, like, are you in any of the have you got any of the plugin? Are you tapped into anybody's like plugin world? Like, do you have Native Instruments plugins? Do you have any Arturia plugins? Like what are you interested in?
Actually, I'm been more analog, like on the list. I haven't really gotten into production. I've just kind of like tinkered over the years.
True.
So coming into the computer side for production of audio is pretty much brand new to me, which is ironic because I deal with a lot of computers for 8 billion other things. Just this has always been a very separate dichotomy.
Totally.
Like for data security and privacy, especially, which again, my background, which I think you may have thrown you off last time I was on here. I mean, it's just a lot of things can be infiltrated easily, and so as I'm checking things out to find out what is safe, where their vulnerabilities are, and what can expose my servers. I also try to make sure that people are aware of complacency and how much they expose themselves to. So,
for
like
sure,
the recent bombing of Zoom, the Zoom bombing that was going on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
like, and it's something I've worried about, like for this stream and stuff too. But luckily, they're putting in waiting rooms and stuff. That's helped a lot, which is really cool. Yeah. I also just started using a VPN. I don't want to get too off topic, but I just started using a VPN to sort of try to protect my data and that stuff.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Private internet access?
Yeah, which I think it's important. The one I want to go back to the thinking though, because I want to make a suggestion. So I will reach out to Sample Robot because I think it looks really cool and I want to learn more about it. And I think your point about there being no video resources on it is important. The other thing,
so there are video resources. There aren't for that feature.
Right.
And a lot of the ones that are created are from other users, and so they don't go from start to end. It's just not very comprehensive.
Got it. 2 things that I want to put on your radar. One involves another piece of gear, which of course you don't want. But the new Akai MPCs have this really cool feature where, like the MPC Live and the MPC One, they have this really cool feature where you can hook up your synths to it, and it will sample it for you. So basically you can make a sample instrument out of your synth. You run MIDI out from the MPC to the synth, and basically it will play on its own. You don't have to touch anything. It goes through the synth and plays 1 note at a time each. And then from there it goes through the whole instrument, gets all the notes and all the sounds at different velocities, etc. And then you have the virtual sampled instrument. So I thought that was one really cool feature that kind of ties into what you're talking about. That's in the new MPCs. And then
wait.
Yeah.
So is that for each bank?
I don't fully understand the question, but
like a lot of times there's a horn section and a piano section, like different banks of sounds.
Right. Well, it basically makes it so that it's an instrument that you can just load up and play, like on its own track. So like if I had my Microfreak and my MPC1, I say, okay, MPC, sample the Microfreak, this preset, and it just goes through, plays all the notes, creates a sampled instrument for me. And now that instrument is a playable instrument, just similar to like a VST, like on my MPC1. So that's a cool feature. The other thing I want to say, because you're talking about like being super into gear and synths and stuff, but wanting to save room, just take a look at the analog lab from Arturia, because they have some of the best like replicated synths around. Like the interfaces, they build the interfaces, like how it looks, to look exactly like the vintage synth that it's recreating. The sound, it's called Analog Lab, and it really does carry through a nice warm analog sound despite it being digital. So there's an alternative Analog Lab by Arturia to instead of buying a bunch of synths, that you need to find space for or put in storage. Instead, they can all live on your hard drive. something. It's of course not the same thing, but I think it's a good alternative.
No. Actually, that's what I'm looking at transitioning to. That's kind of why I want sample robots, so that I can put things on my servers and give them just basically vertical storage.
For sure. Well, I think it's definitely worth checking out the Analog Lab because they have some great sounds and great interface in there. And then, yeah, I think that's cool. I will reach out to Sample Robot and check it out. Thank you for putting it on my radar.
Absolutely, thank you. And just one last quick thing.
Sure.
Considering things like Zoom bombing, etc., I always kind of threw me off, and I don't understand why. I guess I was just kind of wondering why people, since they're using YouTube, don't just use Google Hangouts, because it's all condensed into one, basically Google umbrella solution anyway, which keeps the loop closed.
Yeah, I mean, I've toyed with a bunch of different solutions. The one thing is, like, I know that everybody started using Zoom, which is part of the problem, I guess. But everybody started using Zoom, so I knew that people could just join in. Zoom now has the waiting room feature, which I feel pretty secure about, because I can throw people into the waiting. People just automatically get into the waiting room, and then I can pull them in, and then I can quickly put them back in the waiting room if I needed to. So, and then I'm running separate audio stuff, so it's not as simple as the like integrated Google Hangouts. In a dream world, it sounds perfect, but the way like a stream, like the way it has to run with the cameras and the audio, it doesn't work perfectly. But yeah, that's
totally
why.
Get it.
Yeah,
totally get it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for calling, and hopefully in the future you can call in and let us know if you end up with a soft synth solution, or if you.
I will be.
Yeah,
I definitely will be. I'm trying to find the best ways there, so I'm not sitting there for like 6 days trying to sample all of the banks out of one workstation at a time.
Absolutely, I feel that. All right, I want you to have a good day. Thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you.
Peace out. Let's keep rolling with the calls. Folks, we're going to have to close the lines essentially. So if you haven't called in yet, hopefully you are ready to call in next week. Rooster, I'm trying to bring you in one more time. Make sure your microphone is on. If not, I got to throw you back in the waiting room. Matthew Almquist. Hello, my friend, an old friend. We used to play music. Back in my old life, guys, that I talk about all the time. Singer-songwriter life, traditional music life. Used to play with Matthew's band a lot. Hope you're staying safe as well, dude. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Rooster, I can hear you. Hello.
Hey.
I'm so glad we're...
Oh, finally.
Yes, I'm glad we were able to make it work.
I remember the last time. Yeah, so how are you?
I'm great. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from the United States.
Awesome.
Virginia.
Very cool. Very cool. What's your question
so
today?
I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just have a quick question.
Sure.
So I've been watching that's all you do, but your videos about controllers, like guides, and I decided to buy a Mini Lab MK2.
Nice.
The one right behind you, I think.
Yes.
And I just wonder if my product is defective, or like, is there something wrong with it? The knobs 1 and 9 feel a bit different than the others.
Yes, they are
feel
different.
A bit rough.
They're different.
Is that normal?
It's normal. They are buttons, so you can push them.
Yeah. And also, when you rotate them, it also feels different.
Yeah,
right?
they're definitely slightly more loose, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure. I don't know have you watched my video on the firmware update?
The firmware, I watched it and I did the update.
Perfect. I think you made a great choice.
It fixed some of the things up.
Yeah. And
also the drum pads are a bit, I think the sensitivity is a bit too low. Yeah,
I'm not sure if you can, a lot of these controllers in the editors, I'm not sure if this is true for the Mini Lab, but you can adjust what's called the velocity curve. So that's at least a little thing that you can type into Google, like Arturia Mini Lab pad velocity curve, and see if there's a way to adjust it. Because a lot of them, I mean, the editor is pretty robust for the Mini Lab, so it might be worth checking in to see if you can adjust that curve. Because it does have a different feel than other MIDI controllers. You're right about that.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you so much for calling in. Hope you do it again in the future.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a good one. Nice. Okay. Keeping it rolling because we got about 15 more minutes. Lock sheet. Here we go. Tyra, thank you for joining the stream today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for hanging out on this Mentor Monday. Don't forget, merch is pinned at the top of the chat. You can get 20% off all merch today using the code MENTOR, MENTOR. The code MENTOR is going to be good all week, but then it will expire. So grab some of this merch because some of that merch is going to be coming off of the shelf very soon. Lakshit, thank you for tuning in.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm good. Are things well for you?
Yeah,
Great.
I'm doing great.
Awesome. What's your question today?
Actually, I have two questions.
Cool.
The first thing is, sometimes I get stuck. Like when I start making like beats, I just can make the call. I make good calls, awesome calls, but I always get stuck in like making melodies and all.
Yeah.
It's get a little bit hard.
That
And like
it means
then,
that you gotta
if-
study. Let's take it piece by piece. That means you gotta go study some melodies that you think are amazing, and you gotta go into your DAW and literally learn to play those melodies, whether it's on the keyboard or punching them out in piano roll. You gotta find those melodies. You gotta figure out exactly how to recreate them, and that will help you to create melodies that are very similar to that because you'll see them. It's different when you're just listening to them and you're not very actively paying attention to what's happening, what's making them great. A lot of this is reverse engineering what you think is great. And to do that, you really have to deconstruct the melodies and stuff. So I would highly suggest doing that. A little bit of music theory skill will help as well. So you know exactly like what goes well over what chord, that kind of thing.
I'll be honest, I don't have any DAW and I don't have any like MIDI controllers. I have no plugins. Actually, I use a DAW named BandLab, which is a free
Nice.
one,
Yeah.
but it isn't the great one to work with. And I was just trying and like to get DAW, but like there's some problem because my parents doesn't support me in this field, so that's why. And so I don't have these things. But I use like free DAW as I told you, BandLab, and I used to work on that. And sometimes gets hard to work with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Are you using it on a mobile device or like a Chromebook or a laptop?
On my tablet, to be honest.
Nice.
My tablet.
And there's lots of other apps out there. Like, don't feel like you have to get stuck in BandLab. Is it an Android tablet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Android, there's a little less options, but there's so many good mobile app options. I would explore a little bit more. I'm not sure if Beatmaker 3 is on Android or not, but there's lots of really great DAWs out there where you can create some good stuff, like tablet DAWs. I would spend some time exploring. If you really feel limited by BandLab, I would go around and explore the App Store a bit. Zen Beats Capital Productions is suggesting. I don't know if that's on Android for sure, but it is for Android. Zen Beats is actually a really good one. It's made by Roland. It's very robust.
Actually, I found one app more. It was N-Track, but N-Track was like very hard to use. Actually, to be honest, it's really hard for a beginner to use it. I used it for a while, but it was really hard, and I got messed up, and then I got stuck like every time. So it was really hard on N-Track also.
Yeah.
And there's there are only two apps, to be honest. One is that BandLab, and second is N-Track, and it's limited actually.
Yeah. It's limited, but remember this, that no matter what program you're going to use, like if it's an app you're using on your tablet or if you eventually graduate to like a proper DAW on a computer, all of them are hard to learn. Like all of them have a learning curve. You have to learn to work with them. They all present their own challenges. They all present their own limitations. So like keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But find something and try to stick to it. Like I think honestly that when Capital brought up Zen Beats, I think that is one of the most important ones because it's made by a company like Roland. I mean, BandLab is fine. I've heard of people using BandLab. You don't see that many people using it. But when you've got a company like Roland making a mobile app specifically for music production, like Roland makes SP404, they make a ton of like actual instruments, so they know the music world very well. It's a brand that you can trust. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at that.
Okay, I'll see you on it. And my second question is,
Sure.
I used to work, and I told you that I used to stuck, and sometimes I just think that I couldn't do anything, and my parents doesn't support me in this school, as I told you. So sometimes I feel so sad that I couldn't work, and I don't have that motivation, and also what you do when you get stuck.
Yeah, so we had another caller talk about this earlier, so you should definitely check back and you can listen to that answer. I'll give a little more of a brief answer on this one. But when you're stuck, really ask yourself, why are you stuck? I think there's a certain reality. I'm not going to do the whole answer again, but I think that there's a real reality where you're stuck because you're not loving what you're doing. So whether that means you're not loving the tool that you're using, or you're not loving the genre of music that you're making, or that specifically your skill level does not live up to your creative ideas, it means that you got to put in some work. I mean, that's really what that means. If you feel stuck, if you feel limited by your own abilities, that means you've got to take some time and put in some work and do some studying. And that's not always the answer that people want. People want the easy answer. They think that music is just a fun thing, that it's and for some, it really is a fun thing. Music is really fun, but that does not exclude it from also being work and having to learn something. So if I want to go have some fun, I play some Call of Duty because I can pick up the controller, I can learn it easily. I've been playing first person shooters for years, so I know how it works. So if I want to have some fun, I do that. If I want to express myself creatively, I'm playing music, and yes, that is fun for me, but building up my musical vocabulary, whether it's music theory, whether it's learning different chord progressions, learning different styles and genres, learning different sound design techniques, it is a skill building work process. So make sure your head is in the right place and you are thinking of it as you have to put in some work, because for beginners, this happens really quick. You have this grand vision of the kind of music you want to make, and what ultimately happens is people want to fast track their way into making that music and getting some kind of success, whatever that means nowadays. And Audio Duck in the chat is right. It takes dedication. You have to be really mentally prepared to dedicate yourself and put in the work to actually improve your skill and bring your vision to life. So if that means you got to sit there and drill melodies, like how we started this call, you might have to sit there and really drill out some melodies and learn all these different melodies. It's work, but at the end of the day, the light at the end of the tunnel is it's fun, and you'll be able to make the kind of music that you love.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good one.
Thank you.
All right. 2 more calls, and then we got to be out today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you all. Tanner L with the super chat. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to get a coffee today. Coffee on you today, Tanner. I really appreciate you. We'll get the Audio Duck himself in here. Aaron. Let's get it. Hey, what is up, Aaron? How's it going?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope things are going well. I see that you've been putting in lots of work lately, which is always exciting. Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I just worked
Awesome.
3-hour shifts, and it's funny, I'm just calling to kind of check in and, see how things are going with you too. And I just worked 3 12-hour shifts, and I feel kind of ashamed about it. But
you feel ashamed about working?
Feel what?
What do you feel ashamed of?
Feel about, well, let me say it. So when I'm at work, I'm working 12 hours, and all I'm doing is honestly, I am working and I have a responsibility to, do my duty or whatever, but I'm thinking about music and getting home and making, improving my skills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The whole time. And then I work these 3 hours, I get home, I don't sleep, and I got to get out of that habit. I need rest. Like you were just talking about, some me time and stuff. And then I'm editing and all this stuff. I just started my YouTube channel and stuff, so it's going good. I got a new little series going on where I'm making beats with exotic scales. The next one's going to be pretty common. I think you've heard of it. It's called the Hirajosi or something.
Yeah, for sure. It's an Asian scale.
Yeah, and there's so many scales. There's got to be 50 of them. So I won't be running out of stuff anytime soon.
You will
I've been
never run
following
out
a
of
lot
stuff.
your
That's the thing. Like content, people who just start making content think that there's like a finite amount of ideas. But I've been doing this channel for 4 years and I never run out of an idea. So like I always just keep, so stuff always just either comes up or there's always a different angle you can get on something. But I want to go back to the beginning of your call because you talked about, you know, being at work and thinking about music. Like if you're able to get your job done and do a good job at your job, but you also have that burning passion where you're just thinking about music and thinking about your passion all day. Like I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And you're entering into a lifestyle that's very similar to the one that I had, where it was like go to work all day, 12 hours, figure out how much time you have when you get home between actually being able to wake up in the morning for work again and actually getting some music stuff done. I do talk about like getting rest and taking time to yourself and just listen to your own like body and your own internal voice on like how much of that you need. But what you may find is that doing the work, like doing the music, doing the video, the editing, and putting out content, that might be energizing in itself. And you only need as much sleep as you need, you know? So don't put too much pressure on yourself to have to like back off. Like don't fall into that narrative too quickly. If you're feeling energized and you feel like it's working, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, the payoff is so good. The feeling that I get is like, you know, at first, like, I mean, you know, I've only made like 3 videos, but like already, you know, and there's so much that I've learned. I just want to let everybody know how helpful and how inspiring you've been. And whatever you're doing, it definitely works. So just in case, you know, the people who are listening are wondering what they got to do, just, you know, just keep showing up, really. Just keep showing up and keep listening. And all you need is a little motivation and a little bit of a network to just kind of keep you in that, you know, mentality. Because creative people, I mean, at the end of the day, creative people are going to create some stuff.
For sure.
And, you know, it's ironic because, you know, I grew up playing guitar and stuff. And I'm actually playing righty now. I mean, lefty, I'm sorry. I can never get that right. But I was a purist. Analog, you know, pure signal. Anything digital was the devil, you know what I'm saying? And man, like years ago, I mean, this is years ago. I mean, things have changed so dramatically. The processors are like 0 latency and the signals are pure. And so I'm just so excited. Like every time I make a video, every time I produce something, I'm just like, it's like so therapeutic because I'm so thankful that, you know, at the end of the show, I'm able to make something. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I have my SoundCloud. I have my Instagram popping. It's like all good. And thank you, by the way, for joining it. You know,
yeah, of course. But also the thing is, like, you are in the sweetest spot right now where you said it perfectly. Like at the end of the day, if I made something, I'm feeling good. Like if you can do everything you possibly can to stay in that mindset and not chase numbers and not chase subscribers and do exactly what is making you happy, which is making stuff. If you continue to do that, the audience will come automatically because you'll be doing something that you love and you'll be doing it passionately and people are just naturally attracted to that. And you'll be happy. Like that's the thing. Just keep that. Keep that mentality. You're doing great. Keep pushing through. It seems like it's had a very positive impact. And you know, if you start to feel yourself get down, it might be time for a break. It might be time to assess. Like, oh, I was having fun doing this, but now it's not so fun. Or I changed this and now it's not fun. Let me change back. Whatever you got to do, just maintain that mindset and maintain that happiness.
That's like really excellent wisdom. You don't want to get burnt out.
For sure.
You want to take a break when you know, and not feel like, I think you were talking about it earlier on, about just switching gears and telling yourself, you know, and, you know, just having like a little chit chat with yourself about what your needs are in that moment. And, you know, not feeling that everything's so critical. I need to produce. I need to do something.
Exactly.
You know, I need to create something. I'm expected to do this. Like, it's not so serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like I said, at the end of the day, when you do commit to doing something, you know, I know, you know, as well as anybody who does know that, you know, it gets done. You do something. And it's like that creative mentality is so rewarding. Like, I wouldn't be making videos if by some, you know, wild chance, you know, I'm making something. Like if I wasn't actually making something that sounded good to me, I wouldn't probably be doing this like as a shot in the dark. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just having faith, confidence, and like I said earlier, a community that at least in the beginning, because I do know that you have a video that you're kind of against like little groups and stuff like that, but that was like kind of exclusively to Instagram, I think. But just having somebody to like cheer you on in the beginning, because like it is work.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I find myself, I make this beat and then now I'm like editing and I'm just trying to like hurry up because I can't wait to get it out there. I'm just like
Totally
rushing through the edit and stuff. And it's like, take your time.
Well, here's the thing.
It'll get out there.
Let me clarify that point about groups, and then I got to let you go because I have one more caller and then we got to end the show. The point about groups that I make is there's a difference between people using each other for engagement and an actual community. So you're in the Discord and you're a patron, and I greatly appreciate that. And you can see within that Discord that it's meant to be a community. It's for people to be asking questions. It's for our little community challenge that we just did. It's to energize each other, because many times creative people are isolated and they're the only creative person in their circle. Like most of the time, other people in our families aren't super creative. Right. Even if they are creative, they might not be musical. And a lot of people like talk about like mental health when they call in, and like feeling down and feeling whatever. Yeah. And nobody is, oftentimes for creatives, there's nobody having that conversation around mental health and what it is like to be creative. Because I really think a creative mind is different from, like, if you just have this strong passion and urge to make stuff, that is, a lot of people don't have that. So that comes with a lot of different like mental weight and its own thing. So being in a community that is supportive and makes people just not feel alone. Sometimes maybe people don't even engage in the Discord, but they just feel better knowing that there's other people out there doing the same thing that they're doing. Like that's the point of a community. The thing that I talk about against on groups is people try to put together these Instagram engagement groups, like DMs, where like, hey, we'll all like each other's posts when we post and da-da-da-da-da. Right. And you're like, that's what my friends do for me because my friends are supportive. That's what friends are for. That's what your family's for. Like my mom will always like my posts. She'll always show up to my stream. My friends will always like my posts. They'll always, like my videos or whatever. I don't need to join a group of strangers that's just in it to kind of cheat the algorithm. You know what I mean? What you want to do is join as many like sycophants, or you want to join as many communities as possible. Like you want to join a community that makes you feel less alone, that has people doing the same kind of thing that you're doing and can be motivating. Like there's so many super skilled producers in my Discord channel, some who may be more skilled than I am, and that's motivating to me to be around people who are doing it. You know what I mean? Like I read some stuff about like the circle that you surround yourself with, the circle of people you surround yourself with has a very strong impact on your own output and your own motivations. So digitally, we can surround ourselves. Yeah, we can surround ourselves with positive people that have similar goals, people that have similar ambitions, and ultimately, what that does for you is it motivates you and puts you in a better position.
Dude, I want to thank you for bringing up mental health. I'm a mental health professional, and I just, there's a special place in my heart because, I go through some serious stuff, and people that I love and that are close to me go through serious stuff. And, it's definitely underrated, and it's like probably one of the biggest problems we're facing in this country right now.
For sure.
And even bigger than coronavirus. So LOL on that. So anyways, but
that's a whole another topic for a whole dedicated stream. We'll chat more about it soon, for sure.
But, thank you so much. I'll check you out later, man. I'll be checking you out.
Thanks so much. I'll have a new video up on Wednesday for you, so watch out for that. All right, peace out, Aaron. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're going a little over time today, but we do have time for our final segment that we, of course, like to call Samuel Says. So let's take it away, Samuel.
Good morning.
Good morning. Where's your intro? Come on.
Oh, wait. Let me remember. Oh, yeah. Hey, welcome, everyone. My name is Samuel, your mentor, Monday's question asker.
All right, let's get it. You're closing out our show today. So what do we got for him? What do we got?
So I have a few quick comments and then a few quick questions.
Let's do it.
Kind of balanced today.
Okay, take it away.
So I wanted to help the community out because I really had a hard time finding this on YouTube.
Sure.
So I have a launch key, and on the launch key, same like you could do light shows like the launch pads.
Yeah.
But it's kind of tricky to find it online. So I found this video where he says, so you know where you put MIDI from and MIDI to, like in the middle of the track?
Indeed, I do. Yep.
Yeah. So you put MIDI channel to channel 2 and the MIDI 2 channel to channel 10. And then you go to pads, and then every pad you click on, it just turns off. And then when you click on the pads, by the velocity, it changes the colors. And then you can go online and search, I think, launchpad velocity number color thingy.
Yes, and it changes the color based on the velocity, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing I want to say. First of all, you can drop the link to that video if you want people to see it in the chat. For anybody who's interested in setting up their own light show, I'm going to say this. Here's my big asterisk on light shows. Don't get so caught up in making a light show that you forget about making music. If I see one more cover of the same exact song, like the same Alan Wake song, or what, not Alan Wake, that's a video game. I forget what it is, but there's one song that literally everybody does on Launchpad light shows. Here's what I want you to do. Make your own music, forget about the light shows, or make your own music and make a light show for your own music. I think there was a time where people got way too caught up in making light shows, and that is not... Light shows are cool, and they're creative in their own way, but that is going to... Alan Walker, yeah, somebody said it, Diego. So just make sure you focus on making your own music. Don't get too caught up in light shows because you spent a lot of time figuring that out. And I think it's cool, especially if you're going to make your own light show performances, but don't get caught up in doing these like light show covers. Otherwise, if you make your own videos with light shows and it's your, and it's your original music, it's a great way to get attention on your music.
Fully agree.
Cool.
Next, well, this one's a comment. So I don't really like singing in public.
Okay.
So I'm gonna build a talk box.
Oh, that's a very fun creative process. If you're really going to do that, well, first of all, get more comfortable singing in public because it's not that serious. Just improve your skill and be confident, and it's always going to feel kind of interesting, or kind of nerve-wracking. Second of all, if you do build a talk box, I think you should just use your phone or use whatever you have and film every step of it. Like, we would love to see like a make your own talk box video, even if it's several videos or it needs to get edited. I think you should document it because I think you have a lot of creative like DIY ideas, like when you're talking about making your own microphone, that if you wanted to start your own channel or just make some content, you will not regret documenting it and having people see it.
Okay, good advice. And then, so next thing is I realized on most Ableton like preset drum sets, I realized that the open and closed hi-hats have a relation in which when you press on the open hi-hat and then the sample doesn't end, but you click on the closed one, the open one ends.
Yes. Do you want to know the word for this? It's called choke groups. So within a drum rack, you can actually open up the bigger menu. There's those 3 little buttons on the side. You can open up a bigger menu and assign choke groups. A choke group, if those are on choke group 1, that means whenever you play something on choke group 1, it will mute another sound that's being played on choke group 1. So I do this with vocal samples.
I found it.
Yeah, perfect. So you can do that. The most common is the hi-hat that you're talking about, because if you think about a drum set, you play a hi-hat and it's open, but then you play it and it's closed. Like, that's one symbol. It can't be open and closed at the same time. So them being on a choke group makes it sound more natural. But if you want sounds to cut each other off, 808s is another great example of this. You don't want 808s bleeding over each other. You want the next 808 to mute the last 808. That's another example of choke groups. But you can experiment with assigning different things to the same choke group. You have 1 through 16, so you can have multiple choke groups. Good find.
Yeah. So I just wanted to tell Lakshi earlier on the call thingy.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell him I started off on GarageBand iOS and I made some really good stuff on there.
Absolutely. You can make really awesome stuff with very limited stuff. Like GarageBand's like the most basic for iOS, and a lot of people make really amazing things, and then they go to upgrade to Logic, or they stick with GarageBand and they do cool things. Like a lot of people do awesome stuff. I was watching a video of Steve Lacy from he's in a band called The Internet, and he was just showing off like recording stuff on his phone in GarageBand, and he's like in a major band. He's a major professional musician. Like you can use these tools. It's definitely possible.
Okay. Yeah. And then I was really observing the track a few days ago, and I realized each time I add an instrument to a MIDI track, the MIDI 2 changes to audio 2.
The MIDI 2 changes to audio 2. I don't know what that means.
Like you see the MIDI from and the audio 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's normally MIDI from and MIDI to, and then it changes from MIDI from to audio to.
Yeah, because it's not a blank MIDI track anymore. That's the thing. It's not just routing MIDI. It's not strictly a MIDI track. It has an instrument on it, which gets converted into audio because we hear it, right? So it becomes audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good observation. You have 30 seconds to ask your question, and then we're signing off today.
I mean, that was my last one. But
Oh, that was your last one?
thank you.
Cool. Well, Samuel, this has been another great episode of Samuel Says. Thank you for calling in.
This has been Samuel. Have a good one.
Peace out, bro. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Samuel. Hopefully we can watch you make the talk box. Great idea. See, like, this is why I like this show, because Emron says, "Hi, TAETRO. I didn't know what it's called." I think referring to the choke groups. So, like, people ask questions and then everybody can benefit. I think that that's a really cool thing, even if they are slightly abbreviated versions of the questions, or even if they're a little more like technical. I think it's okay. Delirium, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you all. I have got to go, my friends. You guys have been great. This has been a great stream. I really appreciate y'all for tuning into another Mentor Monday. We're going to do this again next Monday. I've got an interview show. All right, this week is busy. Let me make sure I get it right. I've got to look at the calendar. We have a video coming out on Wednesday. That will be a really cool vlog. Not just a vlog, but I've got a cool piece of gear that I use to make beat making videos wirelessly to run the audio to the camera. I think you'll be interested in checking that out. That comes out on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have TAETRO Talks. It's going to be a good one. I haven't 100% confirmed the guest, but if they confirm, it's going to be great. And then Sunday, I will be dropping another video with the Orba. So you have 3 things to look forward to. Wednesday, video. Thursday, interview. Sunday, Orba. And then we'll be back for Mentor Monday on the following Monday. In the meantime, if you guys could really go just find a video that you like on my channel, find a video that you've never watched on my channel and just watch it, leave a comment on it. Could be an old video, could be a new video, but find a video that you have not watched on the channel yet and just watch it, or set up a playlist with different TAETRO videos. It would really help a lot. The engagement, when you guys engage with the videos and the content, it makes it so YouTube shows it to other people. So you're not just benefiting me by giving me your one view, you're benefiting me by making sure YouTube knows that this is interesting content for people to watch. If you are interested in repping the TAETRO merch and showing everybody that you're a control freak, use the code MENTOR at the link at the top of the chat. So it's pinned. Get some merch, get 20% off, code MENTOR. And if you want to join the Discord to be a part of more community challenges, like you'll see on Wednesday, you should go to patreon.com/TAETRO and join for as little as $1. But you all have been great. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Mentor Monday. Rev Sabes, you are a great moderator. Thank you for holding it down. Thank you to all the callers. I really appreciate y'all. Yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go to TAETRO Radio on your favorite podcast platform if you want to take more of this advice with you. But I appreciate you all. You're the reason I come and do this every Monday, because you all show up. So keep showing up, and we'll keep chatting. For now, this has been TAETRO. Have a good one.